Transformation Talk Radio. I'm talking today with Leanne Venier, who's an award-winning artist, an engineer, and a teacher of all sorts, who's helping us to understand this concept of flow state. Now, Leanne, is this a new concept, or is this concept of flow been around for a while?
Well, it's been around for a very long time. In fact, there is a research study that recently came out about the fact that historically, they believe that we as human beings used to wake up in the middle of the night, every night, have this 4-hour time where we would sleep, wake up in the middle of the night, and be kind of in this semi-wake, semi-sleep state. And
I love that. Yes.
And that's where we would get into flow naturally every night. It would just be this, you get all this clarity, and it's the time when your brain recharges as well, when you're sleeping at night. So you wake up, have all these insights, then go back to sleep for another 4 hours. That's just a very new study that came out recently. But Carl Jung, if you've ever heard of Jungian psychology, he was a very well-known psychotherapist and psychiatrist, like around the time of World War II, and since then. But he was a colleague of Sigmund Freud's. He felt that Sigmund Freud was missing a huge component of understanding mental illness and when people get very dissatisfied with their lives. And he felt that what we need to find true happiness and our ultimate purpose is to be in alignment with that, whatever that purpose is. Why were we born? Why are we here? So when you get back into alignment with what that true purpose is, everything in your life flows effortlessly. Your physical body is healthy. Your mental state is healthy. So, and you have this sense of joy and limitless energy. And all of the stuff that he basically downloaded and became Jungian psychology, this study of studying the brain, came while he was in flow state. He wasn't calling it flow state. He was calling it getting in touch with the collective unconscious, which is termed as this reservoir of all experiences of our species. So you can tap into this limitless source of information and energy and get anything you need, any answer to anything when you can tap into that. So a guy named Mihai Csikszentmihalyi went and heard not Sigmund Freud, Carl Jung. He went to hear Dr. Jung speak in Zurich shortly after World War II, and he first came across this concept of flow, which he came up with the term flow because that's how a lot of people experience it. It's Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. It's a really, really long name, and the first name is spelled like Mihaly, M-I-H-A-L-Y. So if people Google Mihaly, they'll see. I have a link to him on my website as well.
Great.
But anyway, so there's a book called Flow, and he spent his entire career analyzing what the common components are for people that are able to tap into flow state, and what the requirements are to be able to get into flow state. And he came on my radar only like less than a year ago. I had never even heard of him, but I'd been teaching about this stuff, and it turns out that a lot of the things that he writes about are like, yeah, that's exactly what I've been teaching people as far as that. Those are the requirements. So you have a list of things that you actually need to be able to tap into flow state. I have a few beyond what he has, but anyway.
What are some of those things?
Okay, well, one of the things is that, especially when I'm teaching people to get into flow state, I call it flow training, you need to set aside a clear block of uninterrupted time. So it has to be like a time that you set aside for yourself. And I usually recommend first thing in the morning before the day kind of gets caught up and we get swept away in all of our to-dos and everything like that. So having a clear block of uninterrupted time where you can focus on your own creative process and kind of focus on your tapping into your inner voice is really, really important. And one of the things that I found is that a lot of people, they make time to go to the dentist, they make time to get their car fixed, they make time and put it in their schedule, all these things that they don't really find very enjoyable, but they know that they have to do them. Right. Then when you set aside time to get into flow and to create a flow practice, it's so enjoyable. It's not only enjoyable, it's actually really, really good for you, both physically, psychologically, and emotionally. So, but it's almost like we're conditioned to think, well, I can't do something that feels that good because I need to be working, I need to be earning money, I need to be, do you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
So anyway, so that's one of the really important things is like we need to set aside time for ourselves, and if we don't do that, then that's where disease starts to come from, dis-ease.
Right. Well, you know, it's funny, Leanne, because I've always thought of that flow state as something that just sort of happens magically. And, I mean, for instance, this week, you know, I'm writing a book right now, and it's about the energetics of change and the implications, and basically, I knew that that different people relate to the universe differently, you know, in terms of how their belief systems and how they interact with the process of change, and that affects the energetics, right?
Yeah.
So I had come up with these, you know, questions that sort of help direct people, you know, which approaches are going to be beneficial, which ones aren't. And I knew that I had to come up with some categories. So there I am in the bathtub, you know, the other morning, and all of a sudden I hear 5 categories. There are going to be 5 categories. And then, so I was like, okay. And then about 5 minutes later, you know, there I am, just like in the warm water, and another one came, another piece of information came, and it's like, this is the analogy you're going to use, and then within 5 minutes, I had it all laid out. And so, like, my analytic mind had to wrap itself around it afterwards. Wow, this is really good. This is exactly what I needed, you know. But it all came in the bathtub.
Yes. Yeah, and I found that myself, and I've taught people that also. Like, if you are feeling stuck at all or blocked, go near water. Even like walking into your bathroom sometimes will unblock things, and you can get all these insights. Take a shower, take a bath. Something about water, it cleanses the energetic field, and it just kind of allows us to tap into these insights very, very automatically, and it'll be like, wow, I just walked into the bathroom and all of a sudden I got this great idea, and then I have to like, okay, now I have to go run and write it down before I lose it.
That's very inconvenient in the tub or in the shower.
Yeah, well, so you can condition your mind to hang on to things, but sometimes they can be elusive when they come in those flashes. So when you train your brain, it's a lot easier to hold on to them, but in any case, bring a notepad with you when you're in the bathtub, or maybe like some kind of waterproof tablet where you can just take notes.
Right, I know that for kids they actually have these crayons you can use in the tub and in the shower, so maybe we need to keep those.
Oh, really? I've never seen those. That's a great idea.
You've never used them? You need to get them.
Yeah. Waterproof.
They're very cool.
Huh. So, well, I'm going to look that up. Yeah, waterproof crayons that actually work. I mean, well, wax by nature is waterproof, but yeah, you can't usually write with things when it's wet.
You need to be able to wash it off. That's the important piece.
Ah, okay.
My perspective too, because I don't want my ideas from last year up on my shower wall.
Yeah, no, you don't. You certainly don't want to use a Sharpie.
Yeah. But I do really appreciate this notion of setting aside time for flow.
Yes.
So if you set time aside, what does it do to sort of create that flow?
Okay, so first of all, having the time set aside, and it only has to be like 2 to 3 times a week. The more often you do it, the more quickly you'll train your brain. I can talk about the Harvard study about actually changing your brain matter. But another thing that is very helpful is having some kind of deadline or sense of urgency. It has to be something that matters to you. I personally, and it has to be challenging. I often will set, because I've worked for myself for so long, and to have that discipline of, having work hours. So I create self-imposed deadlines. So even if I don't have a deadline for something, I'll be like, I am going to finish this project by noon tomorrow, or whatever.
So, Leanne, try to understand something, because this seems kind of counterintuitive to me. You're setting deadlines. You're creating some sort of restriction.
Yes.
When you want to get yourself into flow.
Right.
How does that work? It seems like those things don't go hand in hand, do they?
It actually, because it gives you a container to have, you need to have some kind of containment, otherwise there's this vast open field in front of you, and you're like, I don't know where to begin. So I use the example of if you've ever seen a horse race, they take blinders and they put them on the horse. So the horse has these blinders on each side of its eyes, So it can't see all of the chaos and stuff that's happening on either side of it. All it can focus on is the path in front of it. So it can run. They know for a fact that horses run much faster when they don't have these visual distractions. So it's the same thing with inducing flow. You want to have some kind of a restriction, but it can't be too restrictive, like in the sense that also, this ties in with the anxiety and free expression kind of thing. If the task at hand is too easy, if it's so simple and it's boring to you, that's what I mean. It has to be something that matters and challenging. You won't get into flow because you're like, oh my God, this is so boring and mundane. I just don't feel like doing this. But at the same time, if you're going through a learning curve and you're learning brand new content, you can't get into flow that way either because you're still too much in the left brain where you're trying to analyze and you're checking yourself and you're like, okay, am I doing this right? I have to remember I have to do X, Y, and Z to be able to do A or whatever. It's like if you, let's see, what's a good example that most people have experienced? When you, if you're writing, for example, and if you try to write, like say you have to write an essay for school or something like that, if you try, or your book, you try to write and you try to self-edit while you're writing and correct your grammar or correct the spelling mistakes or whatever it is, you won't get into flow because you keep stopping that process by toggling into left brain. So you need to...
That's a really good lesson to learn as a writer because, you know, I'm a very good editor, and I will, you know, wordsmith things to death in order to make it sound better, and of course I want the punctuation to be correct. So I have to really stop myself from getting out of that flow state and doing that editorial.
Exactly. Yeah. Until you finish the creative part. Then, so as long it's actually not that hard to, you know, tell yourself, okay, no editing allowed. In fact, when I first started painting 8 years ago, my mantra in the first few months until I established this habit for myself, because I paint abstracts, it's so easy and I do a lot of splatters and throwing paint, and it was really easy for me to start getting attached to what was showing up on the canvas. I get into flow state and all this stuff is kind of coming through me, and then my left brain is like, oh wow, that's looking really cool. Whatever is like coming through me and the way it's looking on the canvas is like, that's cool, and I kind of want to keep going in that direction. And then I'll do a splatter, and then some weird thing will happen, and I'm like, oh, darn, it's like that just ruined what I thought was happening. And I would literally have to say to myself, sometimes out loud, there are no mistakes. There are no mistakes. So I would not allow myself to erase or edit while I was in the flow process, or ever. I mean, it's just so the thing could happen the way that it wanted to organically, and I was just a channel.
Yeah. You know, we have to go to another break.
Okay.
Come back, Leanne. I kind of want you to share our listeners how flow state sort of catapulted you forward within your art career. We want to get some more tips about how we can implement flow